My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about the novel Madame Bovary, written by Gustave Flaubert. And before I go into the summary and explanation of this novel, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or leave a comment. So, this novel is very interesting. It focuses on literary realism, and what really grabs my attention, or what should grab your attention with this novel, is that a lot of the characters in this novel have these imaginary or dreams in their minds that they believe will become a reality. But really, life doesn't work out that way, and their lives within this novel do not work out that way. So, all of these characters have these thoughts or these ideas in their head that really don't come through to be real, to be actual things. It's very interesting to look at that because I think that reality is very much like the events that take place in the book, because sometimes people have these dreams that they think about it so much, they contemplate it so much that they try to believe it before it's even a reality. So that's one of the important things that I think one can take from this novel. So this novel begins with the main character by the name of Charles Bovary. Charles Bovary is not really an interesting person. At the beginning of the book, we see him in his classroom, and the kids are poking fun at him. They're making fun at him, and he does these things that are not attractive, that nobody find appealing. So in the book, he finishes school. He goes on to become a doctor, and then his mother arranges this marriage for him with this woman by the name of Heloise. And the only reason why this marriage is created, or this marriage exists between Charles and Heloise, is because Charles' mother believed that Heloise had a lot of money, and that when she died, that Charles would inherit all of that money. So Heloise does die, but however, what happens is all of her money was somehow um, misused or taken by this lawyer. So Heloise loses all of her money, and then she kind of gets this idea that Charles is interested in another woman, and she dies soon after. And the thing is, Charles is interested in another woman. While Heloise was alive, he was taking care of this farmer that had broken his leg, and Charles had seen the farmer's daughter by the name of Emma. And Emma is this wonderful, beautiful girl that Charles, after seeing her, he was just starstruck, and he just wanted to have her. So after Heloise died, he went over and he talked to Emma, and they became close, sort of, and they eventually do get married. But the problem is, and the problems for this couple really starts here because Emma is a person who reads a lot of books, and in the books that she reads, she gets these ideas of romance, of a man coming into her life and taking care of her with passion and all types of different things that you would see in a book. She wants that to be her reality. She wants to have that passion kind of love that you get from a book. The problem is she's in reality, and reality doesn't often copy or mimic the things that happen inside of a book. So what she quickly learns is that Charles Bovary is not a man of excitement. Charles Bovary is the most uninteresting person that you can ever come across. He is boring. He has no particular interest. Even though he's a doctor, he's one of the most unvalued, doctors that's out there, and there's nothing that one can like about him. Most people just find him boring, and she finds no excitement, no passion, no love, and that's what she expected from their marriage. But she doesn't get it. So she quickly realizes that she's kind of trapped. Emma realizes that she's kind of trapped in a marriage that she doesn't want to be in. She doesn't love her husband, even though that Charles is a good provider. Charles is providing and taking care of her and making her happy and buying her stuff, but she doesn't want to be with him because he's boring and not a passionate man who has particular ambitions. So she kind of like descends into this kind of sadness and or darkness, basically. What happens is Charles does what he does is because of this. Well, because of Emma becoming kind of sad and depressed, he ends up moving. They move to a new home, and this is where Emma meets this guy by the name of Leon. Um, her and Leon, they kind of start this romantic friendship, kind of. And before they became something in terms of a relationship, Leon moves to France, to Paris, to further his studies, while Emma stays with Charles, and she even becomes more depressed. During this time, she also has a daughter. The daughter is not really focused on that much in this novel. Um, Emma really didn't want anything to do with Charles and her daughter. For a little while, she did had um, some sort of want to take care of her family, but it doesn't really last. The next person who comes into Emma's life is this guy by the name of um, Rodolphe, and Rodolphe is just um, he's just full of crap. He he makes these promises and he gets Emma to start an affair with him. And as soon as she wants to run away and be with him and for them to kind of like start a relationship, he bails on her and he like leaves her to Charles. And so this whole novel, you see Emma falling in love with these guys who are not her husband, and these guys letting her down, which is kind of it goes against the reality is kind of fighting against what she wants from her mind. She wants a romantic, passionate um, um, partner to make all of the things that she saw in novels come true. But the thing is, all of the guys that she's meeting are not going to give her that. They're going to have an affair with her and help her cheat on her husband, but they're not going to run away with her and start a family of their own. Emma does meet Leon again, and it goes back and forth, but she never really gets her happy ending. Now, what happens is to make matters worse, when Emma was with Rudolph, I can't pronounce his name, but with Rudolph, what happens is she kept on buying these nice things, these wonderful things to please Rudolph, and the thing is, she kept on getting in debt. She kept on taking out money to buy these nice things to impress Rodolphe. And that put her family in debt and that put Charles in debt. And Charles had no idea that all of this was going on. So near the end of the novel, what happens is they're in debt. They have no way to pay it back, and Emma has no. She doesn't know how to get out of this. She doesn't know how to take herself out of debt. The debt collectors are coming. They're going to repossess her stuff to sell, so that they can get their money back. And when her back is turned over the wall, her back is on the wall, and she has no way of getting out, no way of, um, getting her husband out of debt and getting herself out of debt. What she does is she gets poison um, and commits suicide. And she dies. She dies with committing, well, not committing. She was cheating against her husband the whole time, and her husband was completely clueless. Charles was completely clueless that Emma was cheating on him. He even buries her in her white wedding dress to kind of like symbolize her purity, which is ironic because she was not pure at all. She was cheating the entire time. So Charles, in his mind, he was living his wonderful life, his life that was filled with promise. He thought he had a happy family with no errors, no issues. But at the same time, his wife hated him completely. His wife just despised everything he represented, which goes back to realism. Um, um, the, the thing is here is that Charles had a perfect idea of his life and his marriage, but at the same time, Emma had an idea of a horrible marriage and that she wasn't really happy. So she dies, and later, what happens is while he was cleaning and he was going through things in his house, he discovers love letters that Leon and Rodolphe was writing to Emma, and the letters that she was writing back to her lovers. So this whole time, Charles was in the dark while his wife was cheating on him with two other men, at different times, of course. So the novel really ends with Charles in this very dark place, and he realizes that his wife was cheating on him the whole time. He ends up dying, and the daughter that was never really focused on is um, sent away to work, which is really sad because the kid never really got a life and never really got the attention that she deserved. So what's really important to recognize with this novel is just sometimes these characters or people can get into these mindsets where you want things so much that you forget about reality. So Emma, she read so many novels and read so many love stories. She wanted those exact love stories for herself. But in reality, those love stories pretty much don't exist, right? A book, a novel, is written from the first page to the last page to convey a romantic story. Life is nothing like that. So the fact that she expected to find somebody to give her exactly what she saw in the book was just not smart at all. And that's why both of her lovers just let her down, and both of them, both Leon and Rodolphe, they went on to have normal lives. They used Emma for what they wanted. They had the affair that they wanted with her, and then they moved on. And she ends up dying and in debt. And her husband, that really cared about her, that really tried to give her everything that she wanted, she just didn't want to be with him because Charles was just too boring. And one can say that, can we really blame her for chasing after her passion and dream? Can we really blame her for trying to get what she really wanted out of life? Yes and no. The reason why is sometimes dreams are just dreams. Sometimes you gotta face the facts. Emma was just a lowly um, person. She was the daughter of a farmer. Chances are she wasn't going to get a prince or a person of high class to come and marry her and give her the passionate life she wanted. But fortunately, she got this guy by the name of Charles that gave her a family, gave her a home, gave her money, and gave her somewhat of a name. Because at that time, women within this novel, they're not going to get a place of high class. But she completely denied all of that. She denied what she could have had with Charles to get in these love affairs that just brought her to debt and brought her to her death. So don't make your dreams the contents of the things that appear in books. So that's what really is really horrible about Emma's story and about what her ambitions. Charles, on the other hand, I do blame him also within this novel. You know, you can't be that stupid. Like Charles is very, very, very stupid in this novel. Even though he's a doctor, there are things that you gotta see because there's some scenes where Emma acts extremely mad and extremely unhappy, but he deems it all normal. He deems it all perfect. Um, and his story just ends sadly. Um, he was just too boring, and nobody really wanted to deal with him. And that's the novel. I hope you guys love my summary and review of this novel. Again, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.